What's up, my Yugi Bros? I'm your host, the one, the only, the RJB0. Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Business Casual. This week on the competitive spirit, you know that thing that people have always been saying about how our generation has been taught since the beginning that we are all winners no matter what? Well, by the end of this video, I want you all to be losers. As I said in my video about competitive scooping, losing is one of the things you do in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! The most often, no matter who you are. If you are playing competitively, or even possibly more playing casually, you are going to be losing a lot of games in your life. It's an important thing to know how to do well, and there is a lot to be said for using your losses to make yourself a better player and make yourself a better person in a way that you cannot do with victories. In fact, I would say that it's good to give yourself as many opportunities to lose as possible, while also making sure that you are doing your best to win. Losing and putting yourself in a position to lose is going to make you a better player. What do I mean by that? I mean that at every possible instance, play at the highest level that you can and against the best players that you can while you're testing and while you're learning, and of course, go to as many events as you can. One nice thing about going to a lot of events is the fact that the more games you get to play, the less each loss seems devastating. If you know that you have an event coming up in the very near future, you have another regionals this format, you have a YCS coming up as well, that you get to go to locals every Saturday or whatever, then losing at one event is not going to be particularly devastating to you because you know you'll get more chances in the future. So ironically, giving yourself more opportunities to lose means that each loss doesn't feel as bad. How can one lose well? How does somebody lose in a way that builds character and builds you as a player? Counterintuitively, it is actually necessary for you to have played to win in order for you to lose well. What I mean by that is, although there is an advantage to scooping at the right time, you can't give up on a game early. You can't give up on a game when there is still the significant possibility for you to have learned something from it, and you can't give up on an event when you're at an event before you have given yourself the opportunity to get the most competitive experience possible. Now, there's something to be said for dropping out of an event when you've been losing enough, because you're going to get a lot of buys, because your opponent drops out, and things like that. But if you have rounds to go where you could gain competitive experience, there is also a lot to be said for playing as much as possible in order to find a way to understand more about the meta that you've just lost a bunch against, in order to get the best understanding you can. Losing well means losing while playing at your best. Losing well is also a matter of sportsmanship. In fact, this is one of the toughest times to show good sportsmanship. I don't know about you, but I gain a lot of respect for a player when I beat them, and they continue to be upbeat, they continue to be respectful to me, when they wish me a good tournament and good luck, when they go out of a losing match, especially a really devastating losing match, or one that they might not think that I deserved because of luck or something like that, when they give me the handshake and when they treat me as an equal player, I feel like they are not only a better player, but a better person, and I am more interested in building community with people who are like that than players who are totally silent at the end of the game, who are grim at the end of the game, who throw a tantrum at the end of a game. When you lose, it is important to still look your opponent in the eye, to say good game. That's an important thing, even if you don't think it was a good game. The whole point of sportsmanship is that unless your opponent truly actively screwed you over intentionally, that you show respect for them. You don't go complaining loudly to them, to your friends. You don't badmouth them. You might grumble later about how that top deck was the luckiest thing they could have possibly gotten at that point, that you deserve to have that game. But keep in mind, that is also a dangerous train of thought when you're thinking about losing well, because how do you gain skill from losing well? Well, you look at your game and you notice, are there any patterns to how I've been losing today? What ways have I been consistently getting beaten today? how could I have played that game better? How could I have prepared my deck better? You know, was that matchup not quite what I was expecting? Were there cards that I had in my deck that I intended for that matchup that didn't work as well as they could have? Are there cards in my deck that I intended for other matchups that I probably shouldn't have had there for that particular matchup? These are ways to examine yourself after you lose in order to gain something from it. You can't gain from a loss if you throw it away to luck, if you tell yourself that there was nothing you could have done better, if you tell yourself that, you know, I don't know, if you aren't introspective about a loss, you're not going to gain from it, and that means it's just going to be a loss. If you lose and then you gain from it, it isn't entirely a loss. But if you lose and you don't bother to learn from it, if you don't gain something from the experience, then you've lost and you've gotten nothing else out of it. Finally, one of the most important things about losing well is, yes, while you take self-examination after your game very, very seriously, and you make sure you know how you can do better in the future in the next game, being able to move on for your next match. If you lose a game and you continue thinking about losing that game, it's going to distract you. It's going to keep your mind off the game, it's going to make you start feeling sorry for yourself, and that isn't going to do you any good in your future matchups. You have to do your quick self-examination. What can I do better for my next match? How can I prepare better for my next match? Think about what you can do against that deck, and then move on. And that takes some work, that takes some mental practice, but that goes back to our discussion on discipline, that discipline is about developing that mindset, developing the competitive mindset in order to be a better player and in order to be a better person, because a sore loser is going to find themselves being a sore loser throughout the entirety of their life. It's really a contagious mindset. It's an addictive mindset too. Being a sore loser lets you think that you're doing just fine, even while you know that you could have done better, that you're not the best that you can be. And as that pervades throughout your mindset, throughout your mind, it starts to enter other bits of your life. You start to, it's alluring to think that things haven't gone well in your life because it's all somebody else's fault, and it's not the fault of your own ability to get things done. Sometimes, you know, sometimes that is the case, but it's not helpful to you to take your hobby, something that you do for fun, and become a sore loser about it, because you're not learning from it, you're not gaining from the experience, you're having less fun, and it's going to start causing problems in the rest of your life. Anyway, so that is my thinking about the importance of losing well and how to lose. If you have any thoughts, let me know down in the comment section below. And of course, if you liked this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't, let me know why in the comment section below. And subscribe for more decks, discussion, analysis, and general Yu-Gi-Oh! Shenanigans. And hit that bell thing if you want to get notifications from my channel. Meanwhile, I'm your host, the one, the only, the RJB0. Thank you for watching, and I got a jet.